Hi there, I'm Jen Ferguson with Artistic Painting Studio, and I have a super fun project to share with you. We are going to work on this laser cut mom sign with some foils, paint, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to start this beautiful sign for mom. This is laser cut, and a link to purchase this will be in the description below. But the sign actually has engraved on here so that you can know exactly where to put all the letters back on, okay? We are going to do the letters with one of the foils that I know looks really great over black. So this is our black Bondago. You can use any acrylic paint as well, will work, okay? I just happen to have tons of this around here. So when I'm working on things that are very intricately cut out, I find that using a sponge brush and just pouncing the layers over works the absolute best because it keeps the product on the top edge without it getting down, seeping through all the little nooks and crannies. The hardest thing is just holding on to everything, okay? So we're going to cover each of the letters with our black Bondago because I know the foil's gonna look better over a black base. So let's get all of that done. Okay, the last thing I normally do is just kind of make sure that if you are stippling it on, if you had a lot of paint on your brush or a little extra, it might give you a little bit of a textured um, from the pouncing. So you can just go back and use the brush a little bit more perpendicular and just soften that out, okay? So it just will eliminate some of the texture from the pouncing, which just happens when you do use a sponge brush. It gives a little texture. Okay, I'm gonna set those aside to dry. And then I'm using some of our DIY paint by Debbie's Design Diary. This is going to be Old 57 and Mermaid Tail. And we are just gonna go ahead and cover the whole sign. Okay, let me get the letters out of my way. And I'm gonna use two colors just to get some interest in the background. And I know that this color is going to work good again with my foil choice. So you want to pick colors with whatever foil you choose to use, and make sure that you have a color combination that's going to go together really well. So you could do two ways. Either I normally pick my foils first and then make sure I've got paint colors to coordinate, or pick my paint colors and then try to find a foil to match. I think it's always fun that they're blended, but they don't have to be like perfect match. Okay, we have got a full coat of the Old 57 on there. We're almost, okay, I'm seeing some spots that I've missed. And then I'm just going to go ahead and come in with another brush, and I'm going to blend in the mermaid tail, okay? And I'm doing this wet into wet. I just don't want it solid color, okay? I want a little interest. I'm not using a ton on my brush, so I'm kind of getting what I call a dry brush technique, even though we're doing this wet into wet. There's just not much paint on this brush, okay? You could also wait for the first coat to dry and then come over and dry brush as well. I was just trying to do things super fast, okay? Once you get going on here, I'm just going to flip this around so I got a little bit different angle and decide how much more I want to put of the darker color. So just have fun. Okay, once you're happy with it, just go ahead and let all of this dry, and we'll be back for our next steps. All of our paint is dry, so now we can get to our next layer here. Okay, the first thing I want to do is seal our board. Okay, we're going to use final coat, and the way I like to put it on anytime we've got a nice flat surface like this is using our sponge applicator. And this has got quite a bit in here, but normally I'll just take the lid off, put the applicator over the top, and just let it pour into the sponge a little bit, okay? But if you seal it in a baggie like I have, you're going to notice how there was still plenty in there. And you're just going to wipe on a couple of nice thin coats and get that completely sealed, okay? Um, and then just put your sponge back in the baggie and it will stay fresh till you need it again. Okay, on our mom, okay, and I'm going to get an extra piece of paper out because I know when I do this, this is going to get sticky, okay? So I don't want my whole table sticky, so I always get just an extra sheet of paper out. That way this can just be a sticky piece of paper. And we're going to be using our Artsyville Embellishment foil adhesive. And we are going to pounce it on just like we did the black Bondago. I've already taken some out and put it on what I call a sticky plate. And then just pounce it so your brush isn't like too wet, because I use the brush to get it out of the container. And you're going to pounce it onto the surface. Want 100% coverage, just like we put on the black base. And if it seems like it's really textured, you're going to do the exact same thing we did for the other layer. Come back, let the brush be a little bit more perpendicular, use a softer touch, and you can soften up that texture from stippling it on. Okay, then we're just going to let that dry. As you can see, it makes your project look milky white. And then as the foil adhesive dries, it will dry to a shiny, firm surface. Okay, so it'll be super tacky, but it'll be a firm tack, not sticky like it feels like when you're putting it on. Normally will take no less than about 30 minutes, but the longer you wait, the better. I like to let the adhesive dry for an hour or better, just depending on what I'm doing. If you can't get back to your project right away, don't worry. The foil adhesive will never dry beyond a firm tack. So you can leave this on here for a day, overnight, a week, a month, a year. It's never going to dry beyond. So it will always be tacky. So just put it someplace safe if you can't get back to it, because being that it's so tacky, anything can stick to it. Okay, I'm just coming back and softening up the texture, and then we're going to let this set for about an hour, and we'll be back to do our foiling. Okay, everything is dry. So our foil adhesive has dried to a nice firm tack. You can basically pick it up with your finger. It's such a firm tack, not a sticky tack, so it's not going to get on you. And then our board is sealed and ready for our next application. So we're going to go ahead and foil these, which is my favorite part, okay? And I picked a foil called Abigail. And I love this one because it's just multicolored, and it's just going to give such a beautiful coloration to the letters, okay? So I'm just keeping the other ones out of the way. And just smooth on, and then just use a scrub brush. This is a plastic bristled scrub brush. I like getting the bristles as short as possible. They're normally a little stiffer. And then just scrub over the surface, and let's peek and see what kind of transfer we got, okay? If I feel like there's any place that I want to go back and scrub some more, I can lay the foil right back down and scrub in that spot. Maybe get a little bit more transfer. And whoa, look how gorgeous that is. Okay, so pretty. Okay, so we've got our first one done. Let's use our foil sparingly here. Try to get the max out of it. I love using the floral prints on stuff like this because you get such a variety of color and it's just beautiful. Okay, our last letter here. Let's cover up. Peek again. Make sure you're happy with everything before you completely remove the foil, because if by chance there's a part that you want to try to get a little bit more coverage, the foil is going to fall right back into place and you can just scrub again in that area. Okay, the foil has been transferred, and I mean, how quick and easy is that? So the final coat is what we're going to seal our foil with. And again, if you don't have enough of the final coat in your sponge applicator, just take the lid off, put the applicator over the top, and just let it pour in. You don't even have to like separate. Okay, I normally will just maybe go to a different section of the sponge. Just make sure I've got enough material in there. And then you can wipe on or just even pounce, because it's sometimes a little hard to wipe over something that's cut out with a lot of different sections, okay? But you can either pounce it on or maybe pounce and just wipe. Just make sure you don't have a lot of texture being left over. The nice thing about the final coat is it does dry so quickly that we're putting it on so nice and thin that within normally about 10 minutes, this will be dry enough that you can put on a couple of layers. And then our last thing we're going to do is just go ahead and show you how to use the foil adhesive to glue them to the board. Okay, our last step is just to put this project together. And again, I did the final coat. Okay, I'm going to show it one more time. I put several layers on the board, several layers on top of the letters. So once we glue this on, we should be fine. I don't have to put any more top coat on here. Now again, like I said, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see the little outline of the letters, so I know exactly where to put them. And I'm just going to flip these over. And we're going to use the same foil adhesive. Okay, so this again is the Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive. And we're just going to pounce this onto the back side and use it as our glue, okay? We have discovered that because it's a pressure sensitive adhesive, it works great for gluing lightweight items together. Now, I wouldn't do this with anything really heavy, but it definitely works for really lightweight cutouts like these. And we've been also using it with our poly onlay as well. So you're gonna put the foil adhesive on, just pounce it on. This time you're gonna leave it just a little bit thicker, okay? So normally when I'm pouncing on the adhesive, I pounce it on and then smooth it back out. Okay, this time we don't want to do that. We want to leave it full strength, and if it has a little extra texture, we don't mind at all, okay? Because this is going to be the glue to keep everything together. The one thing that I absolutely love about this is that we're going to allow the adhesive to tack up for about 5-10 minutes, and that's just going to depend on your environment and how cold or warm or dry it is, okay? But you want to let it start to get to where it is tacking up within about 5 to 10 minutes, so it won't look as white, okay? Even the difference between the first one I did and the last one did, you can start to see that it's drying down a little bit and it's not as milky white, okay? We're gonna let this go a little bit longer because I don't want it to be wet enough that when I push it into place, that it would seep underneath. And that's the beauty of using the adhesive, is because it tacks up, it stays tacky, and you can just press it into place without any seepage, okay? And I don't know of any other glue that will do that. So we're gonna give this a couple of minutes and then we're just gonna put them in place. So simple. I've waited about 5 to maybe 6 minutes, okay, total time. And now I'm just gonna get these in place, trying to make sure that I got them on here straight. And then just push it and it should be fine, okay? And again, I'm just looking for my outline. And our last letter M here, okay? And push. And it adheres so quick. I would keep it laying flat for a little bit, but this is just the sweetest and simple little gift for your mom. Thank you so much for joining me for this beautiful mom sign. And all the materials and supplies will be found in the description below. And don't forget, you guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials.